Welcome to the Neophyte in the Woods podcast with Andrew McDowell.
Welcome to another episode of the Neophyte in the Woods podcast. I am your host, Andrew McDowell, and I am, to this day, a proud member of the Change Your POV podcast network. We're actually joined by one of my fellow show hosts and one of the founders of this network, one Mr. Bennett Tanton. Bennett, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Andrew, what's going on, man?
You know, it's always an adventure here.
yeah, it sure is.
I mean, you've got the Tanton family circus, and I've got the McDowell family, like, minivan.
The mini, yeah, I got you.
Or, you know, Cooper, the McDowell family Cooper Mini.
The Mini Cooper circus. It's you're like building the clown car.
Exactly. And right now, you know, it's an 11-month-old daughter and my wife and two cats. So a clown car is about right.
So awesome.
And having slept in that Bennett family circus tent, I can say that it is for real.
Oh my God, that freaking tent is no joke.
It's serious business.
Oh shit.
So how's by you?
Good, man.
Good.
You know, we're just plugging along, trying to live life. You might hear my dog barking in the background because the kids are out on the trampoline because it's actually still light here.
What?
Which I can't believe. Well, maybe it's not now. I'm literally in the closet recording this, but I can still hear my dog. So something's going on. Something's going on out there with the circus.
It's only 9:30 on a school night. It's not a big deal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
My daughter went to sleep an hour and a half ago, so
that's amazing.
I'm full Winnie the Pooh style, just doing it real. Yeah,
my youngest one is probably getting in bed now, but
okay.
The others, oh my God, doesn't happen till later.
No, well, they're more grown up.
Yeah, it's true.
So it works out. It works out. Although, you know, my daughter could probably stay awake longer than I could most of these nights, but
right,
we feed her a very large bottle and she goes to sleep, so
right,
we're counting that as a blessing these days. So we are in fact gathered here to talk about gear and packing and all that, but specifically about something that's related to your background in, you know, the recon community and all of that. We're talking about packing appropriately and in most cases packing light for whatever activity you're doing.
Yes, sir.
This idea came to me kind of when I was thinking about deer season. For those of you who listened to my deer season wrap up, I had a mishap involving a tree stand, and in doing some debugging on it, I realized what my mistake was. So there were two. One, I was using a climbing tree stand and didn't have a ton of experience with it, so I wasn't checking all the things that I should check. But also, and I think equally important, when the stand slipped out from under me, I was standing up to try to get something out of my pack. And my pack was, because I'm a geardo and I need to take everything with me, way over capacity. I had booties, I had a blowout kit. I had a tree saw. Like, I had way more than I needed.
Right.
And when I was fiddling around in there, my weight shifted, and that caused the stand to shift, which caused it to fall out from under me. Now, thank God I was wearing my safety harness, like I think every rational person out there should.
Right, like you actually should.
Yep, exactly. But, you know, it's not an experience that I want to repeat. So I thought that so I could learn from my mistakes, and hopefully others could learn from both my mistakes and your wisdom, Bennett. I was hoping that we could have a conversation about that.
Right, for sure. So packing light, like if you're, I mean, it's one, you know, I mean, we have different degrees of packing light, because a lot of it depends on how you're going in, like how you're camping.
Mm-hmm.
Are you camping? Are you just going in for, you know, to sit for the day?
Yep.
In the stand, you know what I mean? And you gotta set priorities.
Yes.
And what's really important. So like day stuff, like if you're going in to just kind of hunt throughout the day and like sit in the stand, you know, what are your priorities? What's the weather going to be like? Obviously, you need to know these things.
Yep.
Do you need an extra, do you need to pack a whoopee with you just in case it gets cold? Or are we, you know, is it spring? Is it fall? These are obvious things, but they're all fixed by, at a minimum, checking the weather, right?
Yep.
Literally the most important thing you can do.
So let's just say, for purposes of argument, that it's a quote unquote typical, because both you and I are from the northeastern part of the United States.
Yes.
We know that there is no typical day in the fall or the early winter. But let's say it's an average New England day. So it's going to be freezing cold in the morning.
Yeah.
It's going,
so when you come in, you're gonna be freezing.
Yeah.
But if you're coming into your site, more than likely, if you're coming in, you know, it could be a good distance, so you're going to get a little warm. But then as you settle in, you're going to get cold.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So you need to make sure that you have, you know, set stuff. So my biggest thing is always, as you know, the military man always has a poncho liner.
Yep.
Or a whoopee, whatever you want to call it. That is like a required piece of equipment almost whenever, no matter when I go.
Yes.
It's small enough, you can crumple it up or roll it up enough to fit in any pack, any, you know, butt pack or any kind of thing that I would just have it with you all the time.
I lashed one to my lumbar pack when I went out for the turkey opener. I mean, you just crunch it down. It's
and whether you need it or you don't, you've always got it. Yep. So it's a no-brainer, right?
And I think that, you know, one of the things that I like about the whoopee is that it's flexible, right? I mean, you can wrap it around yourself, but you can also use it to keep the wind off you, keep the rain off you.
Right.
You can use it when you're up in a tree stand and it's, you know, you got boots on metal, all the heat just gets sucked right out. You can use it as a little pad.
Right. I have a tendency to sit on mine.
Yep.
A lot of times. And you know, it's just because it, like you said, it kind of gives you that extra layer in between, you know, especially if you've got a stand that's been sitting for a while. You know, those seats aren't that comfortable either.
Nope.
Most of the time. And it's just going to end up sucking, especially if it's rained or anything. It's just going to suck all the heat right out of you. So if you fold that whoopee up and put it on there, shoot, you know, you should be okay most of the time.
Most of the time.
The other thing for me too is like what kind of food. If you're taking food in, what kind of food are you going to carry? And are you breaking it down? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, you go, you know, some guys will go actually like buy MREs and stuff. My big thing, especially to keep the weight down, is, you know what an epic bar is?
Yes, they're like meat and fruit bars that are kind of like Cliff bars almost.
Like amazing bars
Yes.
is what they are. And literally, you take 2 or 3 of those.
Oh yeah.
On like a tree stand, you're never gonna need anything else.
No. No, what I do to kind of go with that, and this is something that you have to manage when you're focused on weight and bringing stuff in, is I take hot water in with me, in either in my hydro bladder that's in my pack, or in a canteen or a Yeti kind of tumbler, because it does a little bit of both, right? So it keeps me warm, it helps me warm back up, but also it keeps me hydrated. And I find that if I'm thirsty, I get cold really fast.
Well, it's one of those things too, is like if you take coffee, it's one thing, but if you take tea with you, not only do you get a little flavor with that, but it's also still hydrating. Whereas especially if you go with like decaf tea or something, if you take coffee, it's actually going to dehydrate you a little bit, just because of the caffeine.
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
Now I guess I call it a bullet thermos, but I don't think that's the technical name. But I have a thermos. It's not very big. It's made by Thermos. You know what I mean? It's like the Thermos brand, but it's literally got it looks like it's a little silver vacuum bottle, right? And it only holds, I guess technically it would hold maybe a cup and a half of coffee, but if you fill it with like tea or just hot water, like you had said, it would fit in any like butt pack or again a backpack. And what's cool about it is that the lid seconds as a cup.
Okay.
And it's amazing. So it's literally a Thermos compact vacuum bottle, and I've got one of those, and I think it ended up costing me something like $20.
Not bad.
And it's one of the best purchases I've ever made. I have a bigger Stanley thermos too.
Yep.
One of the green ones,
Yeah.
But this one's an actual thermos. And it's it might be like 8 inches long, 10 inches long, and it's maybe like 3 inches round.
Okay, so I mean it's almost like a whiskey flask, a half.
Yeah, but it's like an elongated.
Yeah.
Flask.
Okay.
But it's amazing, and literally, if you're talking about sitting on there and you only need some warm liquids to bring it up for the morning or in the evening, just the perfect thing. And it's so lightweight, it's ridiculous, but I mean, I love it. Yeah. I love it. And I'm pretty sure you can buy it in like all colors, but mine's silver.
Okay.
But what the kicker is it's really like a nice, it would be like an espresso cup. The lid.
Okay.
It's like an espresso sized cup, and it's just perfect.
That sounds great.
Anyway.
Yeah. Will you send me a picture of that? I think I want to add that.
I will.
So we kind of talked about getting water in, and in terms of bringing the gear, let's actually take it back to first principles. I use a day pack. Mine's from Badlands. I got it from Hunt Vault. I love it.
Okay. Yeah.
But one of the things that I've struggled with is almost staging the gear, right? When I was going through my bag and my tree stand slipped, I was going for something that I needed at the start of the day, but it was all the way down in the bottom of my pack. So how do you think about putting all those things in? Is there there's clearly a method to the madness.
Now, does your pack open full zipper? You know what I mean? Like if you're to lay it across your lap.
Yep.
Can you open it all the way up?
No, it's got like a hatch across the top.
Oh, okay. Got you. Yeah, so I mean, obviously you're going to have to think of priority, right? Me, I've got I've got a pack that it's a day pack size, right? I think you've seen it.
Is this the assault pack?
Yeah, the multicam assault pack that I've got, but it's made. It's oh god, what is the name of that ruck? The ruck. It's like the. All right, so you know when you go, it's kind of like a Spartan race, but except for it's like
Go Ruck.
Go Ruck. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. See,
there you
can't
go.
even think of it. So it's a Go Ruck pack. The problem is they're kind of expensive, but the issue with that though, the coolest thing with that is that I've literally had it for years and years and years, man. It's never gonna go bad.
No.
So I think I've got the GR. So if you go to GoRuck to the website, it's the GR1. This is like a $300 pack.
Yep.
But I can tell you it's by far the best backpack I've ever owned in my life because it's so simple. You can lay it on your lap, and in a tree stand, I've done this. So you just sit it on your lap, and you can open it all the way up. So you can get to everything that you'd ever need. But in your instance, obviously, you know, the front pockets, if you've got them, because you've got a Badlands pack, you said.
Yep.
And you want to have the stuff that's that you're going to need readily available up front, because then you don't have to get into it, because otherwise you've got to get into the, you know,
dig down into it. Yeah.
So do you have like the Pursuit day pack?
Yeah, it's called the Reaper. I think the Silent Reaper.
Okay, got you. I got it.
Which, you know, I love. It's quiet.
No,
it's comfortable.
It's a great pack. It's nice. And that's what it's made for. It's made for getting in and out quiet. And you can carry a bladder with it, which is cool.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is key, because I mean, I'm game, and see, that's the other thing with the GoRuck GR1 is you can carry a bladder in it as well. So if you can get a day pack that carries a bladder and you can still carry all your stuff, I think you're doing well, especially if you can get it for around $100 or less. Dude, give me a break.
Yeah, I was lucky, and actually I signed back on with Hunt Vault, and they for resubscribing, they sent me a pack, and in the Elite pack that I got, it came with another version of it. So I have two options depending on the size. And you know, except for having to go in through the top, it's a great pack.
Yeah, because it doesn't have any, I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and it doesn't have any side zippers at all, which is kind of annoying. Like how it doesn't come down at all. It's just that top slit. Yeah,
and so my kind of approach has been with it. I try to put heavier things that I'm less likely to need in the bottom.
Shit stuff in the bottom.
Exactly. You know, I probably from a safety perspective, this isn't the best idea, but I put like my blowout kit, because it's relatively bulky. I put that in the bottom. You know, I put my saw in the bottom, because if I need it, I have bigger problems than, you know, can be easily solved.
No, I mean, yeah, for sure.
And I stack from there. I try to put my water somewhere in the middle if I'm not using the bladder. I keep and then, so what I did was I ended up putting later in the season, extra pair of gloves, extra pair of socks, and the booties kind of laid across the top. Figuring that I can get them more easily, and I'm more likely to need them than I am the stuff that's down towards the bottom.
Right, for sure. What's cool about that Badlands pack too is that it's small enough that you can literally pull it off and like set it down on either hook it onto the tree or hook it right onto your stand.
Yep, exactly.
Because it's small enough. And that's the thing about the GR1 as well. The big difference between that and that is $200.
Yep.
Is really what it comes down to. And the zipper configuration is you can open the GR1 all the way, whereas in Badlands you can't. But I am a guy that no matter what the weight wise, I always go full bladder if I can, just because I want to have. I mean, if the shit goes down, at least you've got water.
Yep.
You never know, right?
You never know.
I want to have that because I think my bladder's 120 ounces. So I want to have that water.
Yep.
So that's never too much weight. So, I mean, it's pretty easy. Day trip, go out to the stand or doing whatever, whether you're stalking or whatever. That's a pretty easy configuration, right?
Yep.
So when you start getting finicky is when you've actually got to like go in someplace, right? Or let's say you've got to come in and you're going to spend the night somewhere, right?
So this is the 2 or 3 day hunt or the longer backcountry hunt,
right?
Where not only are you going to be probably multiple miles from your truck, right? But you have to bring everything in with you, and you have to take everything out with you that you don't eat or burn.
Now, I am not. If I don't have my car right there, I'm not a big tent guy. I am a tarp guy. You know what I mean? So I like make a improvised shelter with tarp if I can. The difference with that is that you kind of need to have a barrier between you and the ground.
Yes.
And that's why I've got at least because the isomat you can do so much with. And usually it straps to the top of your bag or to the bottom of your bag, right? It's the most key piece of material. Now, if I'm going into a campsite for more than, and usually I don't usually do that alone ever. So there's me and another guy at least, right? And a lot of times if it's me and another guy, we'll straight up bring a cooler.
Sure.
All right. Because I have this badass cooler. I mean, it's just a regular cooler. No joke. It's like a 33 or a 40 quart cooler. It's just got 2 handles so we can both carry it pretty easily. So here's the key though. We literally fill it with 1 bag of ice because that'll last you. Now here's the key. This is the big piece of whatever. I have a 1 inch or 2 inch piece of foam. Like that thick polystyrene foam that you use to like insulate a crawl space or something.
Yep.
That's cut to the perfect size of the cooler, right? And I put that inside with the ice. Now, when we get to where we're going, I take that piece of foam out and I put it down and I set the cooler on top of that. I kid you not, it's the difference between carrying 1 bag of ice or 2.
Sure.
Because it literally insulates enough to give you that ice will last at least 4 or 5 days. And we're usually on the end for 2 to 3, right? But 1 bag of ice will last 4 to 5 days in that cooler as long as I set it on top of that piece of foam. So I would much rather carry that foam than another bag of ice.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I mean a 20-pound bag of 2 20-pound bags of ice or 1 20-pound bag of ice.
Right. And it's the cheapest. It's almost like having it. It's like literally the difference between keeping that old shitty cooler that I have or buying a Yeti.
Yep.
Because I kid you not, it turns the regular cooler into a Yeti.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, I have a blue Coleman cooler out in my right now it's sitting in my driveway because I took it out west and brought it back. But I always struggle to keep ice in there.
I'm telling you, man. Go to Home Depot and buy
the foam.
The $1.75 piece of foam, cut it down to the size of the cooler and just keep it because you can store it right inside of it. Now when you put the cooler down, just take that piece of foam out set the cooler on top of that with the, oh my God, it's amazing. I was like, bullshit. Like, I had a buddy that was like, yeah, do this, try it out. Oh, freaking amazing. Amazing. Instead of going out and buying a, $400 Yeti cooler.
Now, that's not to say if somebody from Yeti is listening to this and wants to send us coolers.
Oh yeah, by all means.
By all means, we would love to not have to go.
But really, let's be honest. The biggest difference between a regular, Coleman cooler and a Yeti is the amount and the quality of the insulation.
Yes.
That's it. That's
precisely.
Yep. I mean, essentially a Yeti will be twice as thick as any other cooler. Right?
Yep.
I mean, and we know for sure, you put a bag of ice in there, if you don't open it, 10 days it'll last.
Absolutely.
without it's unbelievable. They definitely have it down to a science. Speaking of Yeti, I almost exclusively drink out of a Yeti tumbler.
Yep.
Love their products, but their shit's expensive. But you're gonna buy it and have it for a lifetime.
Yep.
So it's one of those things.
Buy once, cry once.
Yep, exactly.
And you know what? I mean, as long as we're talking about weight, let's be honest here. They're light. Like those
they're really light.
Yeti
really
hoppers,
light.
Those things weigh ounces.
Yeah, like the 20-ounce tumbler.
Yep.
Good for whiskey, good for coffee,
yep.
Good for whatever. You can use it for everything. It's the perfect camp cup. It's just amazing. Hot, cold, whatever. It keeps everything where it needs to be. And
yep.
And as it goes, if you need a cup, shit, I'd bring one of those in a heartbeat.
Yep.
I mean, I am partial, as you know, to like this. Well, when we went camping,
yep.
Squirrel hunting, I love those little red, the Coleman porcelain covered stainless steel camp. I love those things. But shit, the Yeti,
yeah,
it's like that on steroids. So
yeah, they're pretty juicy. I like them. So let me ask you this. This is kind of one of those bigger philosophical questions about packing, and especially if you're traveling for more than a day or you're going to be in for a while. I know a lot of these like hardcore, backpacker, remote, wilderness survival whatevers will literally care about it down to the ounce. They'll cut off the handles of their toothbrushes to save half an ounce.
Right.
Is that crazy talk, or is that like if you're really trying to go ultra
for me, I think
light?
it's crazy talk.
Yeah,
that's just me. I mean, even like as a reconnaissance Marine, when we were literally out in the bush for 2 weeks, every ounce counted. I still never cut my handle off my toothbrush. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I would carry like the small tubes of toothpaste.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't want to I think within reason. And you know what? If you want to cut the handle off your toothbrush, by all means, have at it. But let's not. Yeah, it's common sense. It's one of those things. So unless there's like a reason legally that you can't go over like a certain amount of weight, whether that's like regulation for the outfitter that you're with, or you know what I mean? Because sometimes you don't know, especially if you're going on some of these hunts that are really remote and like, and you have to like make weight to get in the plane. Then I get it. Yeah. Right. But anything short of that, just leave your toothbrush intact. Let's not get crazy.
Or if you're really that hardcore, I remember when I was traveling in Europe, they had these little toothbrushes that you put on the end of your finger, and they're pre-impregnated with toothpaste.
Right. Like I have, and we give them out to homeless guys a lot. Like there's single serve toothbrushes, right? Like they literally come with a tube of toothpaste. It's like the size of like a super glue, and maybe it's like two use toothbrush or something. Bring one of those if you're really that worried about
Yep.
it. I doubt it, but you know, I get it. So, you know, keep everything small. They sell it, and if you're willing to pay for it,
Mm-hmm.
buy it, invest in it, and keep it, because that stuff will last you a long time. And the less weight you have to carry, the better off. I mean, it is true. It's there's no doubt to it. But here's the catch. A lot of times that shit's just not functional.
Yeah.
So keep it functional. I'm not a guy that it's like gadgets for my kitchen. You know who Alton Brown is?
Yep.
From Good Eats.
Yep. Death to the unitasker.
Yeah, the unitask piece of equipment. No, you're out of your mind. Like, buy something that's gonna, multitask.
Yeah.
And use common sense. That's all. And don't believe the hype, because as we know, the hunting industry, and the outdoors industry, they'll make anything that anyone will buy, and wow, there's some shit out there that's just ridiculous.
I think of, there was a it's called like the cough silencer or something. It was it looked like a duck call that you put all the way in your mouth, and when you coughed into it, it supposedly like made it so it didn't
like
sound like
silenced
a cough.
Your cough. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, that's
crazy talk.
It's crazy talk. But there's a lot of products out there like that.
Yep.
A lot of them. Stoves and fuel and things like that. Again, use common sense,
Now, you're a Jetboil guy, right?
I am a Jetboil guy. I love them. Just because it's so versatile. It's not even a question.
Yeah. And you don't worry about, so people that I know that have had Jetboils and have moved on to other stuff complained about not being able to do anything but boil water in it. But I was looking around the other day, and it looks like they make attachments now that fit in the standard Jetboil cup that let you fry things or
yeah, you can do all kinds of stuff. But again, you know what, too? It comes down to money.
Yeah.
Stuff's not cheap. I'm a big fan of if you can burn wood.
Yep.
Because some places, which I find a little ludicrous, if I can bring a Jetboil in, why aren't you going to let me burn wood?
Yep.
I am a big rocket stove guy too.
Okay.
So if I do have and I actually made it out of the big ass baked bean cans. So I have it's a baked bean can with a smaller can inside of it, a smaller can, right? That I took vermiculite and filled it. And I had to solder it, and there's a lot involved. But
yeah,
I could give you the plans for it if you wanted.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And literally, you top feed it, light it, and all you do is use twigs, and it'll boil water within, I don't know, 5-10 minutes.
Wow,
it's no joke.
That's
and
impressive.
It's literally the size of a big can of baked beans, like the tall 28 ounce cans. You know what I'm talking about?
The BJ's sized.
Yeah. So it's not too big, but if you don't have to carry fuel too, it's a killer.
Yeah.
And it's just a rocket stove. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, if you send me those,
but I had to make it myself. But I'll send you the.
Yeah, that would be great, and I'll if it's on the internet somewhere, I'll link to it so folks, if they want to give it a shot making their own.
And you can buy them now too.
Yeah, I'm looking on.
Yeah, for some reason my internet won't let me in. But
if you really want a fancy looking professional one, they sell them on Etsy for $89.
Yeah, so not horrendous. But the rocket stove, man, it's really cool. And you've got you've even as long as if you could carry like a little fire starter with you, even if you have wet wood, you could get it fired up, because they're just awesome.
Well, it's like, and that's the thing, like fire starters are easy. You don't need to carry those little silver Swedish steel fire starters.
No, right.
I'd take a Mentos tin with Q-tips that I've doused in Vaseline and a couple of fireproof matches.
Yep.
It's all you need.
It's all you need. Yeah, I've got an Altoids can.
Yep.
With cotton balls that I've doused in paraffin.
Yep.
With some like wood chips mixed in with it.
Yeah, same idea.
Yeah, or dryer lint works really good too.
Yep, and
if you don't want to spring for the cotton balls,
and God knows that everybody has enough of that.
Yeah,
I'm looking at.
You can even just put it in like a Ziploc bag and just rock it out.
Yep,
it'll undoubtedly it'll almost always start a fire.
Yeah.
So
this is a completely random aside, but did you hear about my fire story?
No.
Or near fire story? So we had I think like you did, a pretty rough winter and a really bad March. And we had branches and all that stuff coming down. And I guess some of it hit the line that connects our house to the street.
Oh, yeah. So I saw your wife's post.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's scary, bro.
Yep. That was terrifying. So long story short,
a picture of the wires with the casing just melted.
So to all those people who own homes out there, if your gut tells you something is wrong, something is probably wrong.
Yeah, she oh my god, yeah, she was saying, well, the lights are flickering a little, I should, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So and I mean, can you imagine if that was insulated with dryer lint?
Oh, dude, horrendous.
Yep. But that stuff goes up. We had to burn like 500 pounds of wood in our backyard a couple of months ago, beginning in middle of April, and we used dryer lint to start it. Like we tried everything else, and then just took a big ball of dryer lint and threw it in there. And
well, that's what I use to start, because I have a wood burning fireplace. So almost every night in the winter. Oh, sorry. Got it on. Almost every night in the winter, that's what I used to start my fires. I do dry lint, and then I've got, some twigs that I've picked up in the fall, and I just break them up, boom, build the fire. Every time. One match. Poof. Dryer lint. It's amazing. It's amazing stuff.
So, yeah, for something that just comes off your clothes.
And literally the best fire starter to take out in the woods, throw it in a Ziploc bag and just shove it in a pocket.
Yep. Weighs nothing.
Done. Nothing. Speaking of weight.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, man. Some fireproof matches or start anywhere matches and you're all set.
Yep. Yeah, I like the ones that are they have the regular kind of lucifer at the end, but they have a little bit of wax or paraffin down the end, so
so they're a little longer, like the windproof matches type of thing.
Exactly, and they light and they hold a flame really well.
Yeah, man. Heck yeah.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. I like them. I'll keep using them. I'm actually, I would love to do a longer than a one day or a one night camping trip, so we could put some of this into action.
Oh, that might have to happen this fall.
I'm down.
I'm
down. We'll make it happen. Some long weekend. It'll be great. Maybe
the squirrel hunting excursion was still fun. It was awesome.
That was, you know what? It was a hoot. We had a good time.
I still can't believe I saw a bear.
Yeah.
Were you with me with the bear?
Yes. Yeah, we were coming back from buying more wood.
Back from Price Chopper, and and the bear runs across, and there's squirrels everywhere.
Yep.
Asinine. So we figured it out, folks. It's probably elevation.
Yep. It's 100% elevation.
100% elevation. There's no squirrels up on top of Bear Mountain.
Who knew? Who knew?
We do. We do now.
We do now. We do now. Yeah, I was thinking we'd maybe give that another shot.
For sure.
Try going a little bit further north or one of the other places.
Or something, right?
Or something, yeah.
Hell yeah.
It'll be good. So when we were chatting before, I promised you we'd be done by 10:15, and we're getting on to that. You had like a King Hell camping tip that you wanted to share.
That was it. The foam. Okay.
The foam. That's a good one.
I'm telling you, it is like it totally changed the game for me. Because I mean, a lot of times, a lot of times it's the difference between, let's be honest, having a cooler is an amazing thing if you can do it. If you've got the ability to put like a cooler into like a bear proof, like a lot of the campsites have.
Yeah, like a bear proof container. It's a big metal
container, or you're able, because one of the things that we do too is we have a net and rope that we can wrap around the cooler and hoist it up into the tree, right? So that's something that we carry readily, and that was pretty easy to fabricate too. It was just it was one of those. It's just an old. God, you could do it with anything, really. Yeah. But mine is an old, those baseball things that you throw like the baseball against, and it'll spring back.
Yep.
So there's some mesh that's involved with that, and it's an old one of those that I've got 550 cord wrapped through.
Yep.
And literally you just put it around it, wrap it around it, and then hoist it into a tree. So you could do that with a million things. Just use your ingenuity.
Yeah.
So that's even good. You could even use a whoopee to do that.
Yep.
It's because, again, it's one of those multi-faceted pieces of equipment because of the grommets on that. Yep. So it's the difference that insulation is the difference between me taking the time and the effort to carry a cooler in or not, because a cooler is a big difference in what type of food you can bring.
Yes.
So if you want to bring some stuff that you're going to like cook, whether or not you kill anything or not, or find something or catch anything or whatever, if I can bring a cooler, I'm going to, because I want to have the ability to have any kind of fresh food versus, I don't want to live off Epic bars if I don't have to.
Yeah. You'd rather have, a nice steak and some eggs the first morning or something like that.
It doesn't even have to be, chicken legs or whatever, something.
Yep.
Hot dogs even, or whatever, it's not hot dogs, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's in that, and it does. And you know what? I have another cooler that I can carry by myself, that again, I took another piece of foam that's literally like 10 by 10. And it's one of those Oscar coolers. You know what I'm talking about? The orange lid ones that have the flip handle.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll take that if I'm going out on my own. And again, if you put that on the ground with ice in it, your ice is going to last you 2 days. If you put the foam underneath it, your ice is going to literally last 4 days. It literally extends the life of the ice by double. Wow. So that it's just and no one would ever think it, but trust me, it works.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? You mentioned the magic item that we didn't talk about until now. 550 cord.
Oh, yeah, 550 cords. Jesus, you can do anything with that.
You have to take it with you. I mean, it's light, it's durable, it has 1,001 uses. I mean,
you can hoist stuff into a tree with it. You can, if you just have a tarp, you can build your shelter with it.
Yep.
550 cord is, have 100 feet of 550 cord just in your bag.
Yep.
You'll be able to do anything.
Yeah,
like, literally almost anything.
The stuff I have is kind of a combo tool for me. So I have about 100 feet of it. It's wrapped up real small, but it's orange and reflective, so I can use it to make a shelter, do anything like that.
Shelter, signal, all kinds of stuff.
I use it as my hoist rope, and then I'll drop it back down. So if somebody is walking around with their headlamp on, they'll see kind of the flashing yellow cord and hopefully won't.
And truly what happens, folks, is it never wears out. No. It'll never wear out unless you like cut it, burn it, whatever. It'll never wear out.
Never, ever, ever, ever. It's
pretty amazing stuff.
It's a must-have. Awesome.
That's why the military uses it. That and 550 cord and paratape, rigor tape. but it's not. And Rigger's tape is not quite duct tape. It's better. So
it's I think you can buy it on Amazon. It's called like Tenacious tape or something like that.
Yep. And we just call it Rigger's tapes because it's what we'd use to on parachutes.
Yep.
So
yeah. Cool. Anything you want to share with the folks before we go on our merry way?
No, other than I'm telling you that the cooler trick, even if you're at home, man, buy the foam and put it under it and see what I'm talking about. It's pretty amazing.
Well, the baby's birthday is in a month and 7 days, and we're going to do it at a park that's 300 yards from my front door, but we're going to have beverages there, so I don't want them to get warm. So
if you have the cooler and you're going to set it right on a bench or on the ground, try it. Put the foam underneath it, and I'm telling you, you're going to be amazed.
Done and done. So Bennett, I appreciate you coming on the show with a little bit of a short notice, and
yeah, man,
always delightful to talk to you.
Same here, always.
Hopefully we'll get out in the woods together, and we'll actually shoot something.
I think this fall it's going to happen.
And we still got to do that St. Lawrence River trip.
Absolutely.
Get out and snag some salmon.
Yeah, man, for sure.
We'll do it.
Yeah, cool. Get some smallmouths and maybe a pike or two too.
I'll bring my fly rod.
They got some serious muskie up there as well.
Do they?
So yeah, man.
Got to dig it deep.
Yeah, a buddy of mine just caught this was last fall. He caught a 48-inch muskie. Dude, seriously?
That's a
monstrous.
Tank. That's a tank.
It's a monster. I swear it's like one of those ones that you look like, you're like, that thing could eat my kid.
Yeah, it could. That's what they do. Way back in the day, Native Americans fed unruly children to muskie.
Right. Yeah, man. I love it. And you know what? I've never had muskie per se, but pike, or pickerel, which is the smaller cousins. I'm telling you, man, it's good eating if you do it right. We make patties out of it because it's got this really vicious Y bone. But if you chop it up, you don't have to worry about those bones. Yeah,
if only the lake across the street from me wasn't poisoned with dioxins.
Right.
I could.
You get those chain pickerel in there.
Yep,
those are some good eating.
Last year. It was an inch or two away from the state record in the lake across the street from me.
Lord.
On an ultralight fishing rod. It was the most fun I've ever had catching a fish.
Yeah, man, that's what we do. We take the ultralights up to the St. Lawrence and fish for smallmouth.
Yep.
And we'll catch these 19, 20-inch just slob fish with these ultralight. Well, it'll be ultralight rod, but we'll put 20-pound test on it, like spider line or something.
Yep, the braid. It's the way to go.
Bro. And you just catch these huge fish, and you'll fight them for 6-8 minutes.
Yep,
it's fun.
Knock them on the head and then eat them.
Oh, they're so good. The smallmouths out of St. Lawrence, because that's that cold river, bro.
And you brought some of that to the trip in the fall. It was delicious.
It was good. Yeah, man.
So we're gonna have to make this happen.
Love it.
Thank you, Bennett.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Take care. Say hi to the wife and the youngin'.
I will.
We will talk to you soon.
Hey everyone, it's Andrew from Neophyte in the Woods. Just popping in real quick. Wanting to do a quick kind of bumper out here. We here at Neophyte in the Woods and the Change Your POV network do this all out of the goodness of our hearts. We legitimately love and are passionate about the subjects about which we speak. However, that doesn't mean that we're not absorbing some costs. And one of the ways we're trying to address the overhead costs associated with putting out these podcasts is to do Patreon. And you can find a link to it right down at the bottom in the kind of the episode show notes on our website. If you could donate anything that you're able to support us and help us get this content coming out to you, it would be very much appreciated. There are tiers of membership from $1 all the way up to $10, and you can donate more than that. For our backers, our Patreon patrons, we do offer some unique content. We've been doing weekly shows where we do a live stream and we talk about a quote on Mondays. It's normally right around 8 p.m. Eastern. There's also some other cool rewards, including the level at which I back at $10 a month. You can actually get, believe it or not, a signed autographed picture of our fearless leaders, Bennett and Eddie. It really changed my life. It sits actually right up above the computer where I record all this stuff. I take it with me when I go hunting. I take it with me when I go fishing. I take it with me when I go to work. It goes everywhere with me. Some people have an EDC pocket knife. I have an EDC picture of Bennett and Eddie. I would really strongly suggest you back us and keep the good work that we're doing coming. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting us on Patreon. Thanks for leaving us reviews on iTunes. And we'll talk to you next week.